I'm live, finally. It takes so long for this to happen. Oh my god, it doesn't even give me a countdown. YouTube doesn't, so I'm gonna have to. Hi, I need to introduce myself. It is 5 o'clock in the morning, y'all, so I am a little hyper. I've just got my coffee. Uh, this is. Let me start over. Hello, my fellow chuckleheads. This is you've joined me at Ron. I'm gonna get my card. I have to teach myself how to do this. Oh, here's my glasses. You guys are seeing a work in progress, and I'm talking about me. I'm talking about this video. I'm talking about my comedy experience, all of that stuff. So, hello, my fellow chuckleheads. Welcome to Rhonda Lee Jones Comedy Lab. I am Rhonda Lee Jones, and today I want to talk to you about. Yes, I have notes. I want to talk to you about what life is like for me in the middle of the week. A midweek emotions is how I tagged it when I put this whole thing together. And I want to talk to you about that because, well, life is different for me in the middle of the week than it is for the weekend. And that's true for everybody, but it's especially true for, a comedian who is doing midweek open mics because, you're just doing different things. And that's when you're performing, and that's when you're dealing with your job if you've got a 9 to 5, or, in my case, like a 7 to 6. Um, it's not really a 7 to 6, it's more like an 8 to 6, but it's still a really long day. And then to go out and deal with all the big emotions and have all the fun, it can be a little bit harrowing, or a lot harrowing, which is why a lot of people aren't out there doing it. And why I'm doing this, so that you can see that you're not actually going to die, especially if you do what I did this week and take some time out for a little self care. So I'm going to talk about emotions. I'm going to talk about those days, knowing the difference between those days when you really need to push yourself to get the things done, because you are going to have to do that, because we live these incredibly, busy lives full of work and kids, and God knows what else you've got going on. You're going to have to push yourself to get this comedy thing done because you're going to be tired, and because you're going to be emotional and all the things, and that's perfectly normal. And that's what I want you guys to understand, is all that is perfectly normal. All the emotions, all the tiredness, everything. It's just about making the decision to do it. And for me, in particular, this week, I've had a couple of things going on because, as you know, if you watched my last video, I talked about last Thursday and how we did an open mic. And it was, I don't know if I mentioned this part, but it was family night because the only people in the audience were other comics. And so, and it was just this weird week. Everybody I ran into was just really, they were kind of in a low place. It was a low energy day for everybody. There was something in the air. I don't know what was going on. But for me, getting on stage was not getting any laughs that night. And it, it was, that hadn't happened in a while. And so but the thing is, I knew that that was part of the process. And I had just spoken with one of the guys in the room that night who had not gotten any laughs the night before. I got not laughs the night before. And it was kind of a scary experience going on stage because it was a completely new venue, new crowd, and I didn't know what to expect. But I got laughs. It was great. He told me, I wasn't able to see his set, but he told me he had not gotten laughs in that venue. And I kind of wish that I had been there and kind of seen the difference between um, his night the night before and his night on Thursday night when I didn't get laughs and he did. So it's nice to be able to compare those nights of both when they're your nights, your experiences, and the experiences of other comics. Because to understand, one of the things I'm really trying to beat into your brains, that does not sound good. I'm sorry, guys. I don't want to beat your brains. But one thing I'm trying to get you to understand is that you are going to experience so many different things from one day to the next. So just don't hang too much on one experience. Enjoy the good experiences, and that includes the good experiences because they're going to pass, as well as the bad experiences. So just don't try not to consider any of the experiences bad. So for me, the last time I was on stage, I didn't get a laugh. So where I am midweek, my weeks are usually performing Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday because of Jerry Seinfeld. Oh my God. He said, I think it was him that said, you really need to be out there at least 3 times a night, 3 times a night, 3 times a week. And believe it or not, some comics who have access to a lot of open mics, they're out there multiple times a night as well. So just get out there as much as possible. For me, I have to do that in kind of spurts. I have to get out there as much as possible for periods of time, and then I have to pull back a little bit just for self preservation. Honestly, my schedule is so busy that what I did this week instead of pushing was I took last night off. I came home after work. I poured myself a glass of wine. I relaxed. I went to bed early, and I had emotions about doing that because I wanted to get right back on that horse, and I wanted to perform again as soon as possible. But I was in such a physical state that I needed to take the time off. And the reason that I did that was because my schedule has been completely just more crazy than usual. I've been I've been playing with an improv comedy group, and when I say playing, I don't mean performing. Um, there's a local group that we have that's very good called Schrodinger's Cats, and they have an open mic. They've been letting me or letting a bunch of us rehearse with them because we've been on what they call on trial. Sounds really scary, and it is. Oh my gosh. Um, but what that means is that we've been allowed to come to rehearsal with them, and basically they've been workshopping us and teaching us their ways um, to see if they want to allow us to become one of them to actually join the troop. So I've been on trial for the past few weeks for consideration for joining the troop. So that's been Tuesday nights. I've been doing that on Tuesday nights before even going out and doing a set. So Tuesday nights have been crazy. In addition to that, I've been taking a class on Monday nights, an improv class, and both of those experiences are like 2 hours at a time. So improv on Monday nights and Tuesday nights, then performing a 5 minute or 8 minute set on Tuesday nights, and then performing Wednesday night, Thursday night, and then Friday. Usually, there's a performance of some kind of cats or somebody else to support. So, and then in addition to that, I went last week to karaoke at Joe's Underground, which is my comedy home. So I've been busy. I've been really busy. And so last night was the first night that I didn't have trial. And because that's ended. So I'll find out soon. I'll find out soon if I'm going to be a cat or not. Um, so I took the time because I was just so physically tired. I took the time and I went home. And yesterday morning, though, I wrote a new set. You know, I have a new set, and I'm really excited about taking that out and doing and seeing how it does. But, you know, last night was just one of those nights when I just had to pull back. And knowing the difference between the times when you need to push forward and the times when you need to pull back is crucial to anything that you're doing in life, honestly, and especially crucial to anything that you're doing creatively. Because sometimes it's nice. Some interesting creative things can happen when you're tired. And you should definitely give yourself that and push yourself a little bit, but don't push yourself so much. And I think that's the key. If you have been pushing yourself and you've been doing really well, and you're just starting to not feel good, if you're starting to not feel good, you're starting to feel cranky and sick and that sort of thing, that's your body telling you, hey, whoa, pull back, take a deep breath, get some rest, and you can get back on that horse the next day. Don't make yourself sick first. So that's what I did. I took the night off, and it was amazing and wonderful. And now tonight, I'm going to see if there's an available open mic. And if there is, I'm going to go join it. And if there isn't, I'm going to take advantage of that too and just come back and see and really pay attention to what my body needs, whether that's going to be more rest or whether it's going to be like half rest. I have a feeling that if there isn't an open mic tonight for me to go do, that I'll wind up coming back and just studying the set, you know, just kind of playing with my new set a little bit. So either way, it's going to be a good night. So that's my midweek emotions. My usual midweek emotions are having to do with performances. And believe me, there are times when I'm sitting there waiting to go on, or I'm thinking about going on, and I don't want to do it. That happens. That happens more often than you would think. And the reasons are, oh, it's not going to be a good crowd. I have some weird, I'm having feelings about whatever is going on. Oh, this crowd is not going to, they're not going to laugh at me. They're into something else. They're doing, oh my God, they're much more into each other. Oh gosh, there's a group of guys over there who are being loud. They're not going to pay attention to me. That kind of thing. And I can psych myself out with that, you know, and I've already been on enough to know that that's that group of guys that are, more into hanging out with each other than looking at a comic when they're not even in there for comedy. Sometimes those are my best audience members. Sometimes those are the best. Sometimes those are the guys that get me through the night. That doesn't sound right. Do not make anything out of that statement. Oh my God. Um, but that's why I'm on stage, because I just say things wrongly so many times. Um, but you have to know the difference between whether you really need to pull back or whether you're just psyching yourself out too. If it's just emotions that are driving you crazy, go on stage. Believe me, you're going to be in a completely different frame of mind as soon as you step up there. Sometimes I am in a frame of mind where I don't want to do this tonight, because I'm afraid I'm going to fail. Because we hang so much on this, don't we? We really do. We're like, man, you're if you're daring to be a comic, if you're daring to be a comedian, you're putting a lot of pressure on yourself. Um, and people are expecting things of you, whether it's your audience, whether it's your people. Um, you're daring a lot. You're daring greatly, as Brene Brown says. I'm going to be talking about her. I'm going to be talking about her, I realize, as I do these things, because she's a writer and a researcher who has given me so much courage and given a lot of people so much courage to do the things that they want to do, that their soul is telling them to do. And she talks about daring greatly. And one thing she talks about is who you listen to when you're doing something, because we want to listen. We want to engage with feedback. It helps us grow, but we don't want to engage with the wrong feedback. And the one thing that she says is that if somebody she says that when you put yourself out there, you're in the arena. It's because it feels like, yeah, you feel like a gladiator. You're going out there, you're doing this great fight. You're fighting the good fight. And she also says you have to do it naked. I'm gonna let you think about that for a second before I tell you. Um, as a comedian, um, you might be thinking, or as an aspiring comedian, you might be thinking you have to go out there with your armor on, and be tough and hard edged. And it seems that way. But what you're really doing is you're going out there and you're being vulnerable and you're showing people, and this is why it's so scary, you're showing people who you really are. When sometimes you don't really know who you are yourself, because we change from day to day, really. And so it's a process of discovery for you as much as it's a process of your audience discovering you. So, how scary is that when you don't really know what's going to happen sometimes? So, you're going out there in the arena without your armor, and people are going to say things, you know, but it's up to you who you listen to. Um, the people that are helpful are generally going to be the people who are out there with you. They're going to be the other comics, they're going to be artists, people who also put themselves out there. If they're the people in the peanut gallery who never dare anything, who just want to tear other people down, don't listen to them. Don't listen to them. They will be out there, and you have to let them be out there for various reasons, but you don't have to listen to them. You don't have to give their words any worth. If easier said than done, yes, which is why I'm here for you guys. Um, but that's a big thing. Another comic. Okay, so I have this thing, right? I'm obsessed with the light, the if you've never been to a comedy open mic or a comedy event, you won't know this, but if you have, and especially if you've ever been on stage, they flash you with a light when you're about a minute away from your time limit. And it's really important because if you go over your time limit, you're in danger of going to the special help they have for comics. Because you're overstepping somebody, you're infringing in somebody else's time zone. And you don't want to do that. You want everybody to have their time. So it's kind of a douchey thing to do, but you're going to do it sometimes because you either don't know any better or you're nervous, you know. But we try not to do it. So I'm obsessed with the light, and I mentioned that a few times. Too many, apparently. I didn't realize how obsessed with the light I was until one of the comics pulled me aside and said, "Hey, stop that! Don't worry about the light." And so he gave me some advice. I gave him some advice, and I feel like it was a good conversation because I trusted him because he also gets up there. He knows what he's talking about. In other words, he knows what he's talking about. He was coming from a perspective of, hey, you know, I'm out there too, and we're in this together. I think that's the difference. If you feel like the person who's giving you advice is in there, you're in the. If you feel like they're coming from a place where they're saying, "Hey, you know, we're in this together," um, then you'll have that feeling, and you'll know that you can at least listen to them. That doesn't necessarily mean you do what they say, um, but you can at least, you know, give their words some space in your life. Um, so that's the difference. The other people who are not in it with you, they're just they're just armchair criticizers, and they're not going to help you. If they make you feel small, that's another thing. If you feel small after talking to them or after they have talked to you, like, hey, I know better than you, you know, I'm better, you know, I don't do anything, but I'm better. You know, if it's that kind of feeling and you'll know, then don't listen to them. Just don't even give them the time of day because their words don't matter. But the other people will make you feel like, hey, they're giving me a great gift by taking the time out for me, and they think I'm worth their words. So there's a difference. Just pay attention to how you feel when you talk to these guys. My voice, you can tell it's like 5 o'clock in the morning when I'm doing this, guys. And apparently you're gonna see me in my PJs, so I'm gonna have to get some cuter PJs to do these videos. And what else do I want? Because I would rather be looking dorky in front of you guys and going back to my notes than not saying something that's important that I feel like you need to hear. Um, uh, so midweek emotions, yeah. So I'm all about those midweek emotions. What my notes actually say is I wanted to get into the how I feel after a few days after not getting the laugh. So I've covered that. I have a new set, which there are a lot of emotions that happen when you have a new set to play with. Um, I'm excited. I'm really excited because it was excitement that generated this set. Like, oh my gosh, I have this idea. Or I just start jotting stuff down and it's an accident that I wind up with a new set. So that's exciting when that happens. But anything new is fun, you know, because in your head it's like, oh my gosh, you built it up. And at the same time, it's scary because it's untried. You don't know if people are going to laugh at this. So I guarantee you, the first time, if I walk out there tonight somewhere, if I walk out there to present this set for the very first time, I'm going to be nervous about it. You know, I might want to run away. And that's true for either type of audience. I'm going to talk about two types of audience right now. Not in depth, but just the people who know me, who see me on stage, my fellow comics. Um, there's a different kind of nerves that I get in front of them than I get in front of, say, new people that are who have never seen me before. There are positives and negatives to both of those, and I might have completely different emotions either night. I might be like, I'm so glad this is a new audience, you know, because in my head, it's like they don't know what to expect. They have no expectations of me. So that's going to be cool. Sometimes I'm less nervous with them. Sometimes I'm more nervous with them, and for the exact same reason. And sometimes I'm less nervous with my people. Sometimes I'm more nervous with my people. It just depends on, it's all me. It's my inner game. It's my state of mind. It's less about what's happening out there and more about what's happening in here. So just know that you're going to have to manage those emotions. Oh, there's so much managing emotions. But honestly, since I've been getting on stage with comedy, um, all the all the emotion managing skills I've learned have actually spilled over into my personal life, and you know it makes your personal life better as well. So just let it bleed over, let it help you. What else? What else? What else? What else? Midweek emotions. Oh yeah, I was going to talk about being tired. I was going to do this video yesterday. Um, And I was going to do the video yesterday and in preparation for going out on my Tuesday night, but that neither one of those things happened. So I was going to talk about being tired and the emotions that being tired can make you have. Because yeah, by Tuesday or Wednesday, I'm starting to get tired in my week because of work, my day job, because of comedy, because of just getting through the week. And as comics, we can't put those emotions on the shelf. We have to be aware of what's happening with us so we can make comedy out of it. We have to be aware. We have to let ourselves feel those emotions. If you're not doing comedy, if you're just, if you're, the one who goes out there and you're doing your 40 hours a week and a lot of times it's just, we're not allowing ourselves to feel those emotions because it's hard. It's hard to do that sometimes, to be aware of what's happening inside of us because our emotions are changing constantly and it's not all pleasant. It's not all fun. And it's easier a lot of times to just medicate those away. And when I say medicate those away, I don't necessarily mean with drugs. Take your meds if you have to, if you need meds, take your meds. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about having a drink because you don't want to feel this particular thing, or watching TV to forget about it. Which, that kind of thing, you do need a break sometimes. But if it becomes a pattern or habit, then you're not engaging with yourself at all. And when a problem pops up, you're not going to know why it popped up. You're going to be blindsided. So comedy can help with all of that, but it can be hard, especially in the middle of the week for me. It can be hard to engage with those emotions. So I do have to, there's self care, yoga, and meditation, and all those things that I do. No, sometimes I don't do because I don't have time to do them, and it's a balancing act all the time. So I think there might be some people getting mad at me if I say this, but honestly, I think comedy, it might be like having a newborn that never grows up. Because comedy is so needy. Oh my God, it's so needy. And you need to know what you're getting yourself into before you do it so that you can prepare yourself for when you feel things. Yay. Like emotions. Um, I was going to talk about being nervous about going out on Tuesday night because Tuesday night is generally a mellow night, and uh, because our Tuesday nights at Joe's are singer songwriter nights, and so a lot of the people that come out to see their friends sing songs, and they're generally, not always, but they're generally really melodic guitar based acoustic songs. And so it's a really mellow night. And there have been nights when I've gone on stage for these guys, and they're not there to see me. They're not there to see me at all. And they've been listening to music, so they're really chilled out, and they're not laughing. They might think I'm funny. I'm learning to tell. I think a little bit. When people think I'm funny, even if they're not laughing, because they're too mellow. But it's I go to a special place in my head when I know that the audience is going to be mellow. It's harder. It's harder to go out there because you kind of know you're not going to get the laugh. But at the same time, if you do get laughs on a mellow night, I've bragged about that before. I got to comics who weren't there that night. I was like, I got laughs on a Tuesday, and they were like, you did. So, it can be. You need to have that experience though. Don't refuse to go out just because you think it's going to be a bad night. You never know what's going to happen. So, and you want the story to tell later for your friends and for your fellow comics and people like that, because you wouldn't be attracted to comedy. You wouldn't want to go out there in the first place if you weren't a storyteller. And I'm not saying you're a good storyteller yet. You're just, if you have that urge, if you enjoy telling stories, even if you're telling them badly at this point, then, and you're probably not, you're probably just fine. You're just going to get better because this is it's a more difficult way to do it. But you're a storyteller, so that's one way you can get yourself through the night. This is going to be a story for later. Just just tell yourself that and give yourself that experience. And it's only 5 minutes, guys, or 8 minutes, or however long. 5 minutes out of your life to do a comedy set. You're fine. Um, it's going to be fine. So that's all I have this week on my midweek emotions, and that might be a thing. That might have to be a thing because this is not something that happens once. This happens every week. So maybe to kind of see where I am um, next week as opposed to where I was this week might be helpful to you. I don't know. If you want to comment below, I think I have comments enabled, but if you want to comment below about what you are getting out of these videos or what you would like to see in the future, I am all ears, all eyes when I start remembering that that there are actually comments. And remember, allow your notifications so you'll know. I'm a little bit random about when I do this because I have to do it when I have a few minutes. And so I'm going to try to do a midweek one. I'm going to try and do a weekend one. So I'm going to try for twice a week. I hope that's not too much. Let me know if you'd like more or less. No, not more. More is probably not going to happen. But if that's a good amount, I hate pop-ups. And if you hate pop-ups as much as I do, I might have to make a set about that. Because whatever gives me emotions is what I wind up making my sets about. So thank you guys so much for showing up. I love you guys. And you are giving me the courage to do this just as much as I hope I'm giving you the courage to do whatever it is in your life, not just comedy. Go out there and be creative with something, even if it's just grabbing a coloring book for 10 minutes and relaxing. That's all an important part of your life. So you've been watching Rhonda Lee Jones Comedy Lab, and I will see you next time. Bye.